Well, a very good evening, everybody. This is Gulf Harbour Radio, ZMH 286, Patricia and David, on what is a pretty blustery evening here, although nothing in comparison with what Mintaka and Hijacker, if they're listening, have got up there outside of Fiji. But it was quite a calm day to start with here, albeit with a bit of rain on and off, which was a bit of a pain. But anyway, it's 16 degrees now, 1010.4, steady. Front went through last night, as many of you out there in the ocean would have experienced. 15 knots of southwest wind at the moment. So we've got Carrera breathing down the neck of Bundaberg, and good passage for them. 15 knots from the east now, lovely approach into Bundaberg. That's the way to do it. Have the bad weather en route or when you go, and then just a nice relaxing sail into your port where you are making landfall. So well done to Carrera. They certainly love the wind on the beam. Currently it's about 15 knots from the east. This is 70 miles from Bundaberg, northeast of Bundaberg, and they're doing over 8 knots. So Carrera is moving along really well, and when it was a bit stronger they were doing even better. Probably had a rooster tail behind them. Wind shift, they're struggling on. They're doing 6.5 in a south-southeasterly direction at the moment at 28.7. This is from their Garmin, 173.25 east. And Mintaka, well, they are going to be reporting. I'll be interested to hear. Some pretty strong winds up there near Fiji. Mintaka, Gulf Harbour. Mintaka, you on board, Phil, or just maybe leaning over the side at the moment? Mintaka, Gulf Harbour. Well, we'll give them a call later. Things are pretty rough up there, I would have to say, near Fiji. The AIS on the GFS, which is what that is showing a good solid 20 knots, maybe even more. For Mint, it is more, says the voice of doom beside me. But according to the AIS, mind you, that's a bit slow. It was 5 hours old. Boy, some of the AIS is really quite slow compared to other reports. But Mintaka and Hijacker are on their way, and a slug of other boats left today from Fiji, so they will be chased along with some pretty strong winds once the boats that left today get away from the protection of the land. They will certainly know all about it, but there's quite a bevy of them. There's Babe from Great Britain, Silver Ray, Tawaho, Bella Vita, Flying Cloud, Madig, who else is there? Swan. Yep, quite a slug of boats have left from Fiji. Anyway, what I'll do now is ask David. I'll give another call shortly for boats, but I think what we'll do is have a bit of an update from David as to what's happening in the confused air, and we'll then go back to boats after that.
All right, good evening. And well, that depression center that we described yesterday for Thursday has appeared to have moved slightly south. We'll call it 20 south and 177 east. So this is Thursday, 20 south, 177 east. That's more or less southwest of Kandavu. So we'll see if that changes again with a little bit of time. Anyway, if this proves to be so, we will see isobars squeezing between 22 south and New Zealand. You might want to take note of that. On the southern edge of this depression, look out for gale force winds, and I'm serious about that. The edge of it, we've got quite a bit of compression on the isobars, and that's not looking very pleasant. At 25 south, on Rumline to New Zealand, look for, I'd say, 26 to 30 knots. mostly easterlies, so it's not a bad direction, but it's going to cause quite a bit of chop out there. Plenty of rain squalls to deal with as well in this. Now, this low by Friday becomes subtropical. It's tropical at this point, becomes subtropical once it gets below 23 and a half. Anyway, it is centered, like I say, southwest of Nuku'alofa, and we'll call it on Friday 24 south and 177 west. 24 south and 177 west. And it appears that it is going to slide to the southeast from there. You'll maybe take note that we talked earlier, a couple days ago, about not being sure which way it's actually going to go. So now most of the models are predicting what I just said. So if you are sailing Rumline to New Zealand, just picking that as an observation line, by Saturday the 20th, if you were at, say, 30 south and 176 east, you could see southeast winds 20 knots all the way up to gale force and seas 4 meters out of the east. So, like I said, the isobars are compressed, and it's not going to be very, very pleasant out there. Looking well into the future, by Tuesday, which is a week from now, so that's really looking into the future. The Tasman low, this is a low that has been forming in the Tasman, but it will have reached New Zealand. That's Tuesday, a week from now, with its cold front running pretty much toward Norfolk Island and beyond. I think we talked about that yesterday, and they're still holding on what that cold front, the position of that cold front is going to be. Now, this is a situation to be very careful. The fairly nasty depression that we've described a minute ago, the one that's sliding to the south-southeast, that's churning up some seas that by the time they get near New Zealand, they're going to be about 2.5 meters, but they're going to be from the northeast. Now, these seas are going to mash into seas from the southeast, which are estimated to be about 3.5 meters. So there we've got southwest crashing into northeast, and
you said southeast seas.
And northeast. What did I say?
You said northeast, but then the southeast seas. You said, is it southwest seas?
Patricia's confusing me. So there are southwest seas from the depression that's to the west of New Zealand, that's going to be on New Zealand. Those waves are going to be crashing into the northeast winds from the depression that's coming down from the Fiji-Tonga area. Now, again, this is likely to be quite serious. So just pay careful attention to developments on this. We've seen this happen before, where we get two fairly large wave trains coming together, and it's going to be not good. Now, possibly by the 23rd, another day from what I just talked about, the low may move from essentially the center of the North Island in New Zealand. It may move north to northeast. Now, if this happens, this is going to make a honest-to-God mess of sailing conditions all the way from New Zealand up to 20 south. That whole complete area is going to be full of secondary troughs or fronts, and waves are going to be very unpleasant. There's going to be a lot of squall activity, and yeah, it's just not really going to be ideal conditions unless you want to test out your boat or test out your mate. Okay, that's it for me, and I will pass this over to the chief and we'll take a look again tomorrow to see if anything has changed.
Oh, it doesn't sound like something that this mate would like to be going out on. I think I would settle back and go somewhere pleasant in Fiji or Tonga. All right, let's see if anybody has any questions. Nothing's coming up on streaming as a way of questions. Good evening to everybody. Oh yes, here we go. Seabreeze has got some information. Well, this is actually Whitehawk. They're in Banham Bay in Malakula. Oh, nice place to be. Couldn't find an anchorage in the Mesclins. Can't copy us on the radio, so we'll look at what they're saying here. They've got southeast gusting 28 outside, 22 knots in the anchorage, and 100% cloud cover. Thanks for recommending this anchorage earlier in the season! Exclamation mark. Sounds pretty snotty and up there in the.
There's anchorages.
Yeah, there are anchorages. Okay,
we've
got a chuckle out of that one. Right, let's go to a flying cloud. See what it's like. It's still reasonably pleasant in the lee of the land. Flying cloud, flying cloud. Are you on frequency, Cyrus? Nothing heard there. And Mintaka. Looks like radio conditions are not so great tonight. Mintaka, Gulf Harbour radio. No, they'll be dealing with a good 20 knots from the southeast. Is there anybody out there wanting to let us know what it's like in that area, having left Fiji or in Fiji? Please call now. No, nothing heard there. So thank you for the report from Whitehawk. There are quite a few boats having left, and I was just going to go to the marine traffic and see if there's anyone has ventured out of Tonga yet. I don't think so. Let me have a look here. Oh yes, there's one boat has left, Even Star from the US. The rest of you are obviously having a good rest and waiting for what might happen over the next few days. Quite a few of you at Pangamoto here. In fact, a good big few of you at Pangamoto. All right, well, nothing heard from any of the boats that we were hoping to hear from tonight. So hope all is well. Mintaka are in fact progressing quite well with hijacker. Into those, well, they'll be close hauled, that's for sure, with the 20 knots of southeast wind, and it's not going to ease off, so I'm hoping that they will in fact be quite used to it for another 24 hours, but other than that there's not much news from anybody. I will give you Mintaka's position, but it's 5 hours old, and they were at that stage doing 6.2 and they'd got down to 20 south, but that was 5 hours ago, and they've been progressing at 6 knots from there in a southwesterly direction. Okay, folks, having heard nothing, we will leave you all and call you back tomorrow, same time, same place. Cheers all.
Gulf Harbour Radio, serving Buffalo Mackay.
Oh, hello, Barry. Very good evening to you. How's things up there?
Yeah, good evening, Trish. I just wanted to check in, make sure that the radio's all working good. Just getting things ready for passage. The intention here was to sail on up to Wallis Island with an arrival by about Saturday morning, but it looks like I'll have headwind, so I think I'm going to go ahead and just delay that a little bit and wait for the weather to settle out. Over.
Yeah, what's it like in Samoa at the moment?
Currently, we have partly cloudy skies, about 70% cloud cover. Winds are from the east, southeast, at about 10 knots. Here in the anchorage, maybe a little bit less. Over.
Well, you haven't got it too bad at all compared to some of the other spots further south of you, so you might as well enjoy it. We never got to Samoa. We did actually make an attempt. We almost got to Samoa, and I had a tooth fall apart, so we turned around and went back to the Vava'u area where we knew there was a dentist. But so we never ever got to Samoa. It sounds a nice place, and it sounds like the people are very welcoming over.
Yeah, roger that, Trish. As far as cruising with the sailboat, it's not a great place because the cruising permits, there's complications with all of that, and it's not real easy to cruise by boat here, but cruising by land is fantastic, and I would definitely highly recommend anybody listening that they pay a visit to Samoa and get a car, drive the islands, check out the sites, because it really is beautiful here, and the people are very friendly over.
Ah, sounds good. Oh, that's a good recommendation. I don't know why they make the cruising permit so difficult.
Has you been down in the area that the ship was
Yeah,
in?
David was interested to know if you'd been down south of the island where the Navy ship had its demise. Have you been around that island over?
Say again about the island over?
Yeah, the southern island, Upolu, I think it's called. Have you been around there? We were just wondering. It's a pity the New Zealand Navy ship didn't have difficulty in getting a cruising permit. It might still be floating on the surface. But have you been around that area over?
No, negative. I have not. I've mainly just been around Apia and this side of the island, and also up to Savai, the other island up there. I went there, but not by boat, only by car over.
Ah, roger that. Yep. Yeah, so I wonder where boats go because, there's not an awful lot on the northern side anyway, is there, to fossick around it. All right, but it sounds like you've really enjoyed the land cruising. Okay, all right, we'll maybe talk to you in the morning, and very, very good signal from you, so that's good, although it may be that the closer distances are not doing so well. So anyway, thanks for checking in, Barry, and we'll keep in touch. So what are you going to be doing? You said you were going to keep the boat in Fiji, didn't you? So that will be interesting. But does that mean you will be there for the summer, or are you going back home? Over?
Yeah, roger, Trish. I'll be heading to Fiji after Wallace, and I will be there until December, and then I'll be flying back home for the month of December, and then returning to spend the rest of the summer after that. Over.
Ah, roger that. Okay, alrighty. We'll see what happens then, and we'll leave you in peace tonight. I'll just do one more call in case somebody has joined us in the meantime. Is there anybody else before I shut the radio down? No, nothing here. Thanks, Barry. We'll hopefully talk to you in the morning. This is a Gulf Harbour Radio, and we will be clear. I'm just going to check the streaming to see if there's anything else. Oh, hello. There's good signal into New South Wales, the SDR there. Well, this is interesting. It's very confused. It's a bit like the weather. The propagation has been really, really bad. They've got thunderstorms, but thanks, Darren, for that. HF fade-out warning was issued this afternoon. I didn't check the bomb site today to see what it was like, but it could indeed be making a mess of the band. But thanks for that report. Okay, this is Patricia and David, and we are clear. We'll be back again tomorrow. Cheers all.
Okay, cheers, Trish, and thanks for the contact this evening and the radio check. Appreciate it. And we'll see if we can't get you on the Hamnet in the morning. Have a good evening, Gulf Harbour Radio. This is Sailing Vessel Mackay, now clear.
Cheers, Barry.